Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CrossFit Harrow podcast. Today is episode 96 and we have Deena. Deena, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
First question that always goes out is, what brought you to CrossFit Harrow?
Well, it was actually recommended to me by my cousin and two of the members.
Okay.
I used to train with them in my previous gym, so it was actually a recommendation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then your journey into fitness, has it been a lifetime thing? Has it been, you've been in and out?
It's been in and out over, I'd say, 19 years.
Wow, okay.
So where do I start? Right at the beginning.
Okay, let's go from the beginning.
So when I was, after school, when I was 19, I joined Fitness First and I trained quite a lot there. And then I went off traveling around the world. I went to Australia for about just over a year, came back quite a lot heavier than when I went out there.
Was it a boozy kind of?
It wasn't. It was just, it definitely wasn't boozy, but it was definitely...
indulging it, like exploring the culture, right?
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
it can be dangerous.
Yeah, because I actually put on 2 stone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was quite a big difference.
Did your lifestyle change quite dramatically, like later nights, rising up later?
It was everything. It was, one, I was vegetarian when I was out there.
Okay.
Second of all, you're traveling. Third, you're a backpacker, so you kind of like trying to grab food whenever you can. And I wasn't fully aware of, like, you know, all the nutrition that you have readily available now. So I was probably eating way too many carbs and way too much sugar. And I actually put on like the 2 stone within 7 months of being out there.
Well, 20 years ago, the message was very different of what to eat and how you should eat and stuff like that. I think if you look back at some of the textbooks from 20 years ago, it's like 60% of your diet should be carbohydrates, and then over the last few years they've realised, actually no, really no more than 40% should be, and then depending on your sport, etc. Forget fitness for a second. Let's talk about your travelling across Australia. So finished, was it school, uni, college?
Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Fine.
I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was 19 years old, and I knew that there was more out there that I wanted to explore before I try and go to university or figure out what I want to do with my life. So I had been working part-time, so I saved enough money to buy a ticket to Australia.
Why Australia?
Do you know what? I actually met an old school friend. I bumped into him in Watford, the Harlequin shopping centre, and he was just telling me about this exchange program that he's used to go to Australia. So I thought, that sounds quite interesting. So then I Googled them, and then I was like, okay, well, if he's doing that, well,
I'll do it.
And literally 2 months later,
signed, sealed,
off I went. And I thought, the more I think about it, the less likely it is that I'm going to do it. And I just went. I was like, it's kind of like now or never sort of thing. Yeah, it's obviously the best thing I've ever done.
So in that time,
it
was exploring the culture, doing whatever you wanted to do. Like there was no agenda. It was kind of just take everything.
It was meant to be a working holiday, so you work and travel, but there was a lot more of traveling and not as much working. And it was just, it was to experience life outside of the UK. Obviously, I was still very young. I hadn't traveled much. And just to see what else is out there.
Would you go back again?
I'd love to. I would love to go back to Australia again. I've not had an opportunity to.
Did your year stop because of the working visa, or just because you thought, I'm going to go for something different now?
I ran out of money. So
Okay, fair enough.
Ran out of money. So my first stop was Hong Kong. Spent a few days there. Then Australia, travelled all the way around Australia, even did Tasmania. Then from there went to New Zealand, Fiji, and America, and then home. And I had to come home because I had no money left.
What an experience.
It was obviously like the best year of my life.
The work that you done out there?
Yeah, farm.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite common, isn't it?
It was, and I think, it's quite common to do grape picking or working in farms. That was what a lot of people did. And I didn't do that for the first few months. I kind of like, the first few months actually, I worked in a call centre. So in Sydney, I worked in a call centre, and in Melbourne, I did the same. And then the rest of the time, I was looking for a job, couldn't find anything, so I just continued traveling. And then I got to the East Coast, and I remember my friend mentioning that there's a place called Bowen on the East Coast, and there's a lot of farm work there. So then I went there and I spent 7 weeks just working on a farm. Well, I worked in a sun-dried tomato factory.
Oh, right.
It was just really it was just nice to just stand still for some time, earn money to continue traveling.
Was it a traditional like 9 to 5 kind of style?
No, it was probably the first time in my life where I worked 15, 16-hour days for 21 days straight.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was because the
work was the work was there. I wanted the money so I could travel, and I was actually waiting for my friend to catch up with me anyway. So she was in the West Coast, so we were planning to meet in Early Beach to continue the rest of our travel. So I was kind of like, well, I'm going to be hanging around anyway, might as well just continue working until we're ready to meet again. Because
it is very common for people to go down under and go onto a farm or pick something. And I'm guessing that agricultural side is what drives like a lot of people to earn that money, right?
Yeah, and it was a working hostel, so you can't like go to the hostel to work. So the couple who ran it, they are the ones that actually drop you off to the farms and pick you up, sort of thing. So and I met amazing people.
Yeah, do you still stay in contact with anyone? Well, I mean, it was 20 years ago. It was a long time.
It was 20 years ago, but my friend Kerry, like she's like my best friend. So yeah, we still keep in contact.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
So Kerry, there's a few other people like my friend Helen. She's now in Canada. We keep in contact. There are a few people,
cool.
But it is quite difficult because you just meet so many people along the way, and I'm not on Facebook. So
it's the easiest way to.
It is the easiest way, but I've chosen not to be on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah. It's good for it's good for a lot of reasons not to be.
Yeah.
So over that traveling period, you realised that you'd put weight on.
Yes.
You got back.
Yeah.
And you thought, what's my next move?
I came back and I wasn't happy, obviously, that I put on weight. You know, you're not like when I came back, I was, I couldn't get into any of my clothes. And I was like, okay, well, you just lose your confidence.
Yeah.
I lost my confidence and I was like, well, I know what I need to do is to lose weight. And I actually did lose weight. I lost 2 stone in like a year and a half. So I did lose all that plus more actually.
Because you would have been 2021 coming back from?
It was 2021. Yeah.
So that's quite like a pivotal part of in your life of like socializing and going out and dating and all those kind of things I
was just focused on like my goal of losing weight.
Where people do, that they become conscious of those things because up until that point they might not have ever realized those things. But especially through university life, like new circle of friends from different from school, they're into new things, you do new things.
Also I couldn't get into anything. I couldn't get into any of my clothes because I'd gone from like a size 6, 8 to 12 almost. So, all of that was playing on my mind. And not only how I looked physically, but how I felt as well. Like another big reason, part of my fitness journey is how I feel when I'm exercising or when I'm doing hiking. So the first hikes that I ever went on were in Tasmania. And
that was when you were...
when I was actually when I was traveling around. And obviously it was difficult. I've never done hiking before. And then you go and you're doing 5-6 hour hikes up and down mountains. And that one was fine. But there's one in New Zealand where it actually changed the way I view fitness. And you know how they say it's all in your head? Like, I guess training my mind to push past
barriers.
So my friends and I, we did Tongariro crossing, which is a famous hike in New Zealand. And there's this one stretch of the hike where it took me an hour and a half to do and everybody else was literally just going past me. Every step I had to stop. I was really, really struggling. And I told myself after that I'll never ever allow myself to feel like that again.
Was that the physical demands of, okay, fine.
So, and then that's changed the way I see fitness. So I'll do it, I'll push myself and I'll struggle, but I'll keep going.
Yeah. And persevering through. Yeah. So obviously, fitness wasn't, whilst you were traveling, that wasn't a priority. You got back and that started, now it became a priority of what you wanted to change.
Yeah.
So you came back to England, fitness then became part of your routine. Did you go completely nuts of it and was 100 miles an hour, 6 days a week, 7 days a week?
No. So I think the first year the first 6-7 months I spent going to the gym or working on the running machine, etc. But I lost the weight because I was actually working at the airport. I was doing shift work and I was studying at the same time. So I actually dropped the weight because of the busy lifestyle.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually eating properly. Sometimes when I was working at the airport, I'd get up at 4 in the morning, go straight to work, Then I'd finish about in the afternoon, go straight to college, come back and do the whole thing again. And sometimes I was so exhausted I wouldn't eat.
Didn't eat.
Yeah.
What were you studying for at the time?
Sound engineering.
Sound engineering.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So when me setting up all these microphones,
GarageBand, I've used that before.
Yeah.
The first early versions of it. Yeah.
So what at that stage of your life, what was like your focus point? What was your pathway to career-wise? Did you have an idea? Because you obviously didn't know what you wanted to do, go and traveling.
I did, having those conversations with myself, and I also do a lot. I journal a lot. I have done since I have done for the last 19, 20 years. So I also like to see how I've changed, how I've evolved, and I'm, I have those kind of like honest conversations with myself. Like, what is it that I want to do? Is that what I want, or is that what society wants me to do? So after that, I decided that, I don't want to do finance. And then I kind of like transitioned into HR, and which is where I am now. But even with me being in HR now, that's a very short interim goal, because I think that the end goal is for me to work for myself. And that's kind of like where I'm aspiring to go. Yeah.
Well, I suppose the background that you've got, music, with finance and HR, I'm sure there's loads of opportunities of things to work for yourself.
And again, studying, I studied, because when I moved into HR, I didn't have any qualifications, so I studied HR. And now I'm going to do further studies as well. Like, I just don't think you ever stop, or it's not something that I ever want to stop.
Yeah. Stopping learning stops you evolving as a person, right? Whether that be in your job, or if it's even like self-development in terms of how you are as a person. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to read books to understand that. Yeah. But if you can be aware of, like, whether it be behaviour, mood, those kind of things.
And I love reading. Absolutely love reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go through a lot of books in the year?
I do. I've been really bad the last year and a half, especially since lockdown. I've just not been able to get into that mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of change.
Yeah, but this year, I know it's like a really small goal, but again, reading a book a month, which sounds really easy, but it's really not sometimes.
I would imagine most books are 300 to 500 pages?
Yeah.
30 pages, 10 pages here and there every day. Yeah. You finish a book in no time.
And the thing is, like I said, I love reading, and you get to live so many lives when you're actually reading a book. And I love biographies. I read a lot of survival stories. And they're life-changing.
Any favourite ones that stand out?
Some of the common ones are like Man's Search for Meaning. So what is your purpose in life? And a lot of people struggle with that. Finding what they think they're here for. What they want to do, what kind of legacy.
Why they're waking up.
Yeah, what's the legacy they want to leave behind. There's lots of Auschwitz survivor stories as well.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know if you've recently noticed on Sky, there's been a lot of documentaries about World War II, Auschwitz, the whole Nazi, the program. And it is very fascinating to hear those stories of survivors and just the events that went on. Because, I mean, obviously I didn't live in that and haven't, I guess maybe not ignorance, wrong word, but it's probably not shown or brought to me the experience. I didn't really enjoy that stuff at school.
I don't think we learnt about it enough in school.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, for me, I remember learning a little bit, but it wasn't made fun. So I never absorbed any of that information. It was, I think when people say history, you kind of
you get bored.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be, because
no, not at all. It's because of the history we are where we are today, sort of thing.
Like COVID will be taught, the whole situation of lockdown and all that will be taught in next 10, 15, 20 years, and people will be reading about that going, wow, they shut down the country for 2 years of this infection.
Yeah, exactly.
But they are some fascinating stories.
Yeah, I went to Auschwitz, I think it was 4 years ago, and then I read all the books after, and it's just a really, really sad place when you're actually there, and you think about how many people lost their lives, and you walk through the gas chambers and everything.
It'd be quite overwhelming.
It was just so eerie. It was just, you just feel that energy.
There's a film which I watched recently, The Boy in the Strat Pajamas. Have you seen that?
No, but I've heard about this.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a realisation of I don't know if the realisation is the right word, but how innocent children are, and then what's around them. It's not installed in no one breeds that, and there's no hate in people, but what they see and what's around them changes that person. It's a very interesting film. If you ever get a chance to watch
definitely.
it, do. So a lot of reading, a lot of self-development, starting from scratch. Obviously with HR, you had to do that. So the end goal for you is to
work for yourself,
put all those skills together in the same industry.
No, actually, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually want my own bookstore.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I want my own bookstore.
How would someone start that? Where does that? Where do you begin? Is it a collection of your own books?
Yeah, like, you know, there are sort of old books that you can collect. I don't know. I'm still.
How popular is it that people still go to?
I collect physical books.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a Kindle. I'm not going to ever own a Kindle because, I mean, sometimes it gets quite annoying having to carry big books around.
But I suppose the Kindle could take away from your experience of being involved.
Yeah, but I also highlight a lot of the things that I'm reading as well. Like if something that resonates with me, then I'll highlight it, and I also put the date of when I read the book. So if I ever pass my book collection on to my children, if I have any, or my nieces, and they'll know that, you know, their auntie read that. Yeah, it's just little.
That's quite an interesting. I've never thought of that.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting speciality. Starting own bookstore, because you don't see many bookstores as such.
In London there are, in central London.
There's actually one by it's an outdoor. I actually bought a couple of books. They're short novels, short stories by Liverpool Street. I think it's Liverpool Street, possibly. Okay. There's a guy that sets up a stall, actually Spitalfields Market, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Sets up a stall, and there's just like maybe 300 to 500 books on these like shelves and stuff. But some really fascinating some novels. I can't remember the ones that I bought, but they were quite cheap as well. They were like £5-6, and you'd be engaged with it for like 2-3 weeks, and then you could, I don't know, give it to a charity shop.
Exactly, you can donate it or leave it behind, sort of thing. But yeah, there's like so many books. Like one of my favourite books that I've read is, I guess everyone's read The Alchemist.
Well, I mean, I haven't, but I have heard of the book.
Yeah, Alchemist. And there's a book that I read, actually one recently, it's called 438 Days. I would highly recommend that. It's about a man that was lost at sea.
For 438
days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's The Alchemist about?
The Alchemist, it's about following your dreams. It's following your gut instinct. I don't want to give it away, but definitely it's one of the really sort of popular books to read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, along all this,
fitness
is slotting into your life here and there. Okay. So, at this point, through the finance, kind of doing that, where was fitness? So, you're still a member of the gym, you're figuring those things out. How important was the gym for you at those stages?
I did stop quite a few times, actually. There were periods where I wasn't training at all, and I couldn't fit it into my lifestyle. And to be fair, like after I lost weight when I came back from Australia, like I said, I made it a point to never go back there again. So my weight has pretty much stayed the same for the last 17, 18 years when I lost it. And it's just a matter of me just kind of like, you know, just staying fit really. So I've been a member of, you know, Virgin Active, Nuffield, you know, various other different, you know, gyms.
Yeah. And what for you has changed over, let's say, the 17, 18, 19 years of training in terms of like fitness for you? Has like, whether it be the style that you've been more engaged with, whether it be the commitment to training in terms of like saying, right, I want to train like consistently 3-4 times a week.
I think this kind of setting where it's designed for you, the classes are designed for you, is what works for me. You. Yeah, I don't have to think about it, because when I did go to the gym, I would generally try and go to as many classes as possible. Me going to the gym and training on my own, it's never worked, you know. And then I feel like I lack the confidence going to the weight area anyway. So
you're not the first person to say that. And I think
many women or many people do in general. So having something like CrossFit where I don't have to think about, all I need to do is turn up. That's the hardest part. Part.
It is the hardest part. But it's very fascinating that people get this. They're intimidated by the transition of doing their own program within the gym, of whether that would be, that's the rain, whether that would be run a machine or whatever it might be for a little while, and then onto the resistance training for the machines. But then that whole free weight stigma around like not wanting to go is very daunting for a lot of people.
Yeah, I can imagine. But for me, because I've never had one or the other, I was quite happy to just join something that's kind of like designed for me.
Yeah.
And I just need to turn up.
Yeah. You don't experience that like, oh, there's a weights area there. It's like that whole situation's removed.
No.
So you said vegetarian as well?
Yeah.
Choice, habit,
choice.
family,
I was raised a vegetarian, and I was kind of like just stuck with it. And I think as I'm getting older, I'm more conscious about what I put in my body as well.
I mean, I suppose you've been doing it for a long time, right? But have you found it very easy to get, because a lot of vegetarians who convert from meat and eat to being vegetarian find it very hard to, I don't know what the right terminology is here, but find it very hard to be consistent with their food and design tasty meals. How has that been for you over the last?
It's fine. I think it's something you just need to give yourself time to get used to. Yeah. It's just like anything else.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But you've been patient with it, right? I've
been patient with it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a great cook. Sometimes I'm quite a simple eater, but I know what it is, what I want, and I'll just go.
What's your go-to? What would be your go-to food?
If I'm going to be really honest with you, omelettes, egg. It's really easy, especially like when you're busy, you're on the run. It's something that's really easy. A lot of the corn stuff, a lot of protein corn stuff is easy. I'll make a lot of salads, and then I'll throw in as much as protein as I can.
Possible.
Yeah.
Have you found, like, obviously over the years where nutrition, for the last, let's say, decade, nutrition's been massive with regards to training, and vegetarian and veganism has become even bigger. Have you found like the style of foods have changed in the supermarket to suit, or have you found it easier or harder to buy?
I think there's more variety available now as well, because you've got veganism, which has sort of taken off. You know, vegetarian, like when I was traveling around Australia and I used to tell people I was a vegetarian,
no one probably knew what it was.
They were like, why? And I'm like, well, why not? You know? And it was so unusual. Believe it or not, everyone used to question it. And I was like, what is the big deal?
Yeah. I guess now it's just like...
And now it's just like...
No one even asks. It's just,
you're a vegetarian, it's fine.
In that sense. Because I guess in Australia, they would obviously eat quite a lot of meat.
Yeah.
It's quite meat heavy.
Yeah.
But then I would imagine now as well, on the flip side to that, with the lifestyle those guys live, is that there would probably be a lot of vegetarians and vegans, very outdoor lifestyle,
very outdoorsy.
People are out on the beach, they're wanting to be in shape, and a lot of people associate being in shape with being vegetarian or being vegan, and I think I know why that is, but have you experienced that? Mm-mm. No fine, okay, well that scraps that then. Sometimes I think people want to make a change, right?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that they need in their diet is consistency.
Yes.
But what they want to do is change the whole thing.
But
and actually...
Again, like you said, it is being consistent, but I'm very much aware of what I like. And I also know that there's certain foods that I will never eliminate from my diet.
Yeah.
So I've learned to live with that, because why would I want to change that? It's trying to balance it, trying to be healthy, but also
still eat the foods that you enjoy, right?
Eat the foods that you enjoy.
I think this is one thing that's probably we've spoken about in quite a lot of the podcasts, is that if you don't like a certain food, you don't need to eat it. You want to eat foods that are enjoyable, and not because you think there's a benefit of eating it because of the way that it's going to make you look.
There's times when I've gone through and I love chocolate, absolutely love it. Who doesn't, right? And I've tried to substitute dark chocolate, but what I've done is
you've had more of it.
I have the dark chocolate, and then I end up eating the normal milk chocolate anyway. So I should have just gone there in the first place. And like I just know that I love chocolate, and not just chocolate, desserts, and it's just something that I'm not going to give up.
What's your favourite? Two questions: your favourite chocolate, and then your favourite dessert.
I don't have a favourite. I can literally go through anything and everything. There's times, Marks and Spencer, they do the cornflake bites.
Yeah. They're good.
I mean, I can finish the tub in 2 days.
Yeah. 2, I'll give you a run for your money. 1 day.
I mean, that is me holding back, because I don't want to feel bad about myself. But yeah, I used to go through those quite a lot. And like, there was a period actually just before lockdown where I did put on a couple of kilos, and I was like, but how can I be putting on a couple of kilos? I eat really healthy. I have salads for lunch. My breakfast is very standard, but then it's because I was going through stuff like that. That's really, really high in sugar.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Yeah. The sugar stuff is the dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess you can eat as many greens as you want, in some way, as much protein as you want. Yeah. There's obviously things to that too, but it's the sugar.
Yeah, and
sugar's what sticks.
In a day, I'll go through, half a chocolate gâteau. Then I'll have I can go through quite a lot.
How did you keep it off?
I don't know. Do you know what? Because I know I'm doing that, and it's not all the time. I'm very conscious, okay, allow yourself that, but then I have to train, or I have to do something. Like, for example, just before I went to Grenada, I stopped training here for 2 weeks because I just wanted to sort of semi-isolate before I went off. And I was like, oh my God, 2 weeks of no training, what am I going to do? Like, that just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
So then I started running. And I was like, well, I don't really like running. I'm not a runner, but I thought, you know what, I have to do something. I have to do something. And for the first time in my life, and again, this is a big deal to me, I ran 2.5 miles in 25 minutes without stopping.
That's massive. That's very good.
And it's because of my training here at CrossFit.
I'm glad that you... Yeah, I'm glad that you...
And I thought the first time, I thought, well, maybe that's just a fluke. First time I've done it, and then I did it again a few days in a row. And I was like, okay, I was able to keep that momentum. So I might eat bad, but I'll also make sure that I'm doing some form of training.
In some way to compensate.
Yeah, otherwise I'll end up looking like a house, like if I carry on eating like that.
Well, the sugar is, I think, having been in the industry for a very long time, I think sugar is the biggest, it's the devil, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, it's the overindulgence of sugar. Yeah. Because obviously things have been modified for our taste buds to make us want more and things like that. But, if you're having a piece of chocolate a day, or they're things that you enjoy, right? You don't want to completely take everything away.
I go through phases.
Where you just won't have any.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, fine.
Of certain types of chocolate,
chocolate biscuits.
Yeah, biscuits. Like, I'm obsessed with the chocolate covered pretzels.
Yeah, they're good.
And I've gone through packets.
There's a blue packet.
Flips. Yeah. Oh my God, I've gone through quite a few packets.
See, I don't like pretzels.
Yeah, no,
put them in chocolate. It's a different story.
I don't either, but those packets are quite dangerous. And I've bought 5, 6 in the last couple of weeks, and I've gone through them all.
Yeah.
And then I'll go through a phase where I just want eclairs. And again, I'll purposely
Deena, what are you doing here to me? I'm craving all this sugar.
I'll purposely buy just the 2. So I'll have one and I'll have another one the next day. But again, I'm very, very much aware of what I'm doing. For our rush days, I'll buy the trays 6, and I'll go through
the 18, the 24. I'll tell you what I would is apple turnovers. Do you like them?
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
And anything, like apple pie with custard.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just want the custard, and I'll just eat the custard on its own.
I used to do that as a kid. Used to have chocolate cake and custard.
Yeah.
And it was a cake from Sainsbury's, a full, obviously the smaller cakes, but
a sponge cake.
Yeah, sponge cake. Yeah, full sponge chocolate cake. And Mum would be like, I would be like, Mum, I want chocolate cake and custard. And it would start off with a little slice, and I'd be like, no, give me the rest. Put more custard on.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
So you figured out what works for you in terms of food. You figured what works for you in terms of training. Yeah. And now, obviously, work. You're putting that together, managing that. Do you find that sometimes it can be quite overwhelming trying to put everything all together?
Yes, but it can be. But I just try and plan my weeks.
We can stop shouting at each other now because the rain's.
I try and plan my weeks.
Okay.
If I know I'm going to be going to the office, or if I'm going to be going out in the evenings, I'll pick days where I know that I can commit. And the other thing is, when I've committed to going, it takes a lot for me to then cancel.
Okay.
I don't get me wrong, it happens. And the times when it happens is when I'm so physically exhausted, I cannot actually attend because it's going to do me more harm going than actually, But because that doesn't sit well with me, because,
You've committed to that.
I've committed, and it feels like I've failed already. I've failed at something, whether that be the first goal of the day or towards the end. But it takes a lot for me to say, right, actually, I'm not going to that session.
Yeah. And with planning your week, because obviously you said you journal and stuff, do you reflect on that and be like, this was a really good week?
I capture everything.
Yeah?
Absolutely everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I capture everything, all my failures, all my goals, everything that I've achieved, and then I look back, right, okay, where was my mind this time last year?
How much impact has that had on you, do you think?
It's good. It's also good therapy, right? Because you're getting it out. You're getting those thoughts out of your head and into paper, whether you speak to somebody or whether you're doing it that way.
And there's nothing bad about that. They're just open thoughts that you can have
open thoughts. And then sometimes, like, I've not gone back to stuff that I've written like when I was like 19, but you can imagine how
a different way of thinking,
different way, but also like how delusional maybe my dreams were back then, or you just don't. It's just
I want to be a rock star by 22.
Exactly. It's just something really nice to sort of look back on, and I want to keep growing, evolving. I don't want to be stuck in that same mindset where
of course.
And this is how I do it basically.
And along kind of the whole journey of life as well, have you travelled to other places? Have you seen other places? Because you obviously went to...
Yeah, I've done a lot of travelling, so I've been very, very fortunate around that. So, I've been to Canada, I've been to the States, I've been to Panama, Costa Rica, I've been to Mexico, Grenada, St. Lucia, Barbados, I've been to China.
Wow.
Yeah.
The list is endless.
Yeah.
What's been your favourite?
They all, just so many different memories.
Are they all different reasons, or were they work or holidays?
All just pure fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'd say Namibia was one of my, one of the top sort of holidays. It was a proper adventure.
Is that what you like out of a holiday?
Yeah, like it was just different. So there was 5 of us actually, and it was just a different kind of holiday. It was just, it was a safari, we did self-driving, we did camping, so that was interesting in itself.
You mentioned about the hiking earlier.
Yeah.
Are these all places that you would go to? You'd look and be like, is there somewhere that I can actively have an outdoorsy kind of holiday? Or not holiday, it's the wrong word, because yours is more of an experience, right?
Yeah.
Holiday is sitting down on a sun lounger, enjoying the sun. But although you might want that and have had that, it sounds like you enjoy more the experience side of going to do.
Believe it or not, hiking is not something I enjoy.
But you do.
I do it because of the mental challenge. It helps me overcome that. And don't get me wrong, every hike you'll have a different set of emotions and, I guess mental barrier that you have to push past. Like my friend and I, she lives in Geneva, and I visited her, I think it was when I visited her in 2019, we did a hike in Chamonix. And again, it was only like a 2-3 hour hike, but I could tell I was really, really struggling. And I kept asking her, like, how much longer? And she's like, Deena, she goes, that's the first time I've actually been like that. And it's because I was struggling. It's because I haven't done it for a while. And then you have to push past that. And it's the physical. It's also a physical limitation that you have to push past, because you have to get your breathing right as well, because you're going up in altitude.
It becomes
it becomes difficult.
Well, you've had some experiences.
Yeah, I've done the famous the Choltunga in Norway. So you would have seen the famous Norway hike where there's like a ledge that comes out of the mountain.
That does ring a bell, actually. Yes.
Yeah, I've done that. Again, that was a crazy hike that my friends and I did. So we went to Norway Friday after work. We picked up the car at the airport. As you do,
finish work, go to Norway.
The plan was to start the hike in the morning so we can see the sun come up. So we drove.
But they don't get much daylight, do they?
No, in summer they get longer days. Okay. So the idea was to
experience as much of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to Bergen around, I think it was 11 o'clock in the evening. We picked up the car, we put in the route to get to where we needed to go, and we put in the wrong route by accident. So we ended up on a ferry route. So we got to the ferry port at 7 a.m. We had to wait until we got on the ferry. So we've not slept, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And then we started that hike at 10 a.m, did the hike, came back, and then bless my friend drove us to Bergen, which is another 3 hours. Got to Bergen and we tried to check into a hostel. The hostel was closed. We literally just slept in the car.
So I'm sure along that there was a lot of good experiences.
There was a lot of good. I mean, it's just one of those crazy holidays, right? We had it,
but it makes all of it.
Well, that's the thing. We had everything planned, but it was
sometimes
just
things don't go.
And they're the best stories, right?
Yeah. So, what have you got plans? What's in your foreseeable that you want to commit to in terms of whether it be personal or fitness wise that you want to achieve out the next few months?
I think fitness-wise, I do want to do something more. I think I want to push myself to a place that I've not gone to.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's loads of ways to measure that, right? Yeah. You can measure that through different intensities, weights.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I will say one thing. Every time I come to a session, it's never easy. So I always know that I'm pushing myself.
And improving in that sense. And I'm improving,
because whenever I do a session that's easy, I've not pushed myself. So I've never been to a session where it's been easy.
Good.
So, you know, I'm always pushing myself. I do want to do more studying this year if I can. Yeah. That's one thing. I do want to buy a place. That's also something on the agenda.
That's exciting.
Yeah. What else? Relationship. Find somebody.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
But
especially with how the world is kind of more gone.
It is, and you know, when you watch documentaries like Tinder Swindler.
Yeah, I've been told about this. Yeah. I'm yet to watch it.
You know, and I've been on the dating apps. I've you know gone through quite a few dating apps, but sometimes that connection is not. It's not always possible on the dating apps as well, and you just don't know who you're getting on the other side.
I would imagine that it's quite difficult because what people portray to be is going to be very different to what they are.
And I've had that. You just like, you know,
you don't know anything about them.
You just don't know anything. And you know, most of the time when I am speaking to somebody, the first thing I'll say is like, let's set up a video call, especially during lockdown. You know?
Yeah.
I just want to know that you are who you say you are, and you'll be surprised how many people you just don't hear from again when you sort of suggest that.
Yeah, for some people completely normal, for some people not so comfortable with.
Yeah, or some people just want to just be able to chat. Just like a pen friend kind of way, but a digital pen friend.
Yeah. Very interesting, that. Very interesting. We've actually run out of time for today.
Okay.
But really appreciate your time.
No worries.
Thank you so much. And guys and girls, we'll join you again next week.